King Charles has a problem. A decision that pits his duty as king against his loyalty as a family man. His nieces, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, are caught in the middle, and what he does next could either steady the monarchy or expose a fatal crack in the crown itself. This isn't just about family drama. It's about the very design of the modern British monarchy and whether it can survive the one scandal that just refuses to go away. To get to the heart of the king's big problem, we have to start with its source, his brother, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. The scandal around his connection to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein isn't just a bad memory. It's a reputational bomb that went off right at the center of the royal family, and the fallout is still poisoning the ground. Andrew has been methodically taken apart as a public figure. He's been stripped of his military titles, his royal patronages, and, most symbolically, he has agreed to no longer use his HRH style in any official capacity. It's crucial to add that while police reviews in the UK into allegations against him were closed without charges, Andrew also paid millions to settle a civil sexual assault lawsuit in the United States, a case he has always denied. In the court of public opinion, the name York has become toxic, a deep stain on the carefully polished image the monarchy needs to survive. This isn't just about bad press. It's an institutional crisis. The monarchy runs on a delicate mix of tradition, public trust, and a kind of moral authority. For King Charles, his brother represents a catastrophic failure of the old system, a black hole of scandal that threatens to pull everyone and everything down with it. And right at the edge of that black hole stand his two nieces, Beatrice and Eugenie. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are, by any measure, the collateral damage of their father's disgrace. They are princesses by birth, granddaughters of a beloved queen, and nieces of the king. And yet, they're stuck in a royal no-man's land. They aren't working royals in the formal sense and haven't been for a long time, though they did carry out some engagements in their youth. They don't take taxpayer money for their duties and have built their own careers. Beatrice has carved out a path in finance and tech, working as a vice president at the software company Affinity. Eugenie co-founded the Anti-Slavery Collective, a charity fighting modern slavery, and is a director at the art gallery Hauser v. Worth. Their mothers, wives, and private citizens who just happen to have royal titles. They've handled this unique and difficult position with a quiet dignity that's a world away from the chaos surrounding their parents. They haven't caused a single scandal or public outcry. Their loyalty to the family seems rock solid. And that's exactly what makes their situation so tragic and the king's problem so sharp. It all boils down to a fundamental question of fairness. Should the daughters be punished for the sins of the father? There is real public sympathy for them. Casting them out completely could look incredibly cruel, punishing the innocent while preaching family values. But embracing them risks reminding the public of the very scandal Charles needs everyone to forget. This whole situation has King Charles walking an emotional and political tightrope. On one side is his job as king, the protector of the firm. For years, long before he wore the crown, Charles was the biggest champion of a slimmed-down monarchy. This wasn't just about saving money, it was a survival strategy. The vision was to have a smaller, more focused group of working royals to justify the institution's existence in the 21st century. A huge family of minor royals with titles, but no real job was seen as a weakness, a throwback to an age of unearned privilege. In this leaner, meaner version of the monarchy, there's just no obvious slot for Beatrice and Eugenie. They aren't part of that core group. Bringing them into the fold, even just occasionally, messes with the slimmed-down story and invites criticism. It looks like an exception is being made, which makes everyone ask, why? But on the other side of this dilemma is Charles the uncle. By all accounts, the king has a real soft spot for his nieces. He reportedly feels responsible for them, acknowledging the hideous time they've been through no fault of their own. As royal expert Ingrid Seward has pointed out, the king seems determined to embrace his nieces. This isn't just sentimentality, it's the human instinct to protect your family. He doesn't want them to be permanent casualties of their father's terrible mistakes. So he's trapped. His head, the monarch's brain, tells him to keep a safe distance and stick to the plan. His heart, the uncle's conscience, tells him to pull his nieces in from the cold. The crown's stability is pulling one way, and family loyalty is pulling the other. To make things even more complicated, there are persistent stories of a difference of opinion inside the palace walls. This is where the story shifts from a personal dilemma to a potential power struggle, a narrative that has become a favorite theme for royal watchers. It's a battle of ideas, pitting the king's softer, family-first instincts against a colder, more pragmatic vision for the future. At the center of this harder-line approach, according to a flood of unverified reports from sources, is the Prince of Wales. As the future king, Prince William is said to be relentlessly focused on protecting the monarchy's long-term health. While some reports claim William is protective of his cousins, others paint a different picture, claiming he's furious about what he sees as his father's wishy-washy approach to the Yorks and wants a clear line drawn in the sand. According to one source quoted in the press, William's view is that the monarchy cannot afford mixed messages. This narrative of a stricter William is often paired with speculation about Queen Camilla. Tabloid-style reports have alleged the Queen is on the same page as her stepson, believing the institution must be protected above all else. Again, it's vital to say that these are unconfirmed claims from anonymous palace insiders, the lifeblood of royal gossip. But the fact that this story won't die suggests a real ideological split. Is the monarchy a family that happens to run a business, or a business that happens to be run by a family? Commentator Tom Bauer has framed this as a battle between Charles the conciliator and William the ruthless pragmatist. Charles, perhaps shaped by his own rocky past, reportedly wants to heal family wounds. William, on the other hand, is said to have absorbed the pragmatism of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, believing tough, unsentimental choices are what keep the crown on its feet. The fate of Beatrice and Eugenie, in this telling, has become the battlefield for a proxy war. This internal tug-of-war seems to be playing out in public through a confusing series of mixed signals, a phenomenon royal author Andrew Loney calls a yo-yo effect. One minute, the princesses are brought in close, and the next, they're pushed away. It's a dance of approach and retreat that shows just how uncertain the palace is. We see flashes of inclusion. King Charles has reportedly given his nieces small but symbolic roles, like Eugenie becoming involved with the king's foundation and Beatrice taking on a patronage for Outward Bound. These are seen as signals that Charles is trying to find a place for them without making them full-time royals. At a recent garden party, Prince William himself invited his cousins, including Beatrice and Eugenie, to add some pop of youthful glamour, showing their easy personal relationship. But for every step forward, there's a symbolic step back. The most powerful symbol of their new status is the Buckingham Palace balcony. Since Charles became king, appearances for huge moments like Trooping the Color have been cut down to only senior working royals. The image of a packed balcony under Queen Elizabeth is gone, and so is the guaranteed spot for Beatrice and Eugenie. Their absence is a stark, visual reminder of the new royal order. Beyond the balcony, a stream of tabloid reports have suggested the sisters have been, or will be, left out of other key events like the royal Ascot carriage procession. One story claimed Beatrice was blindsided by a last-minute snub. Whether these things are deliberate policy or just coincidence, they feed the perception of a family in chaos, unsure of who's in and who's out. This public indecision just fuels the drama and reinforces the idea that the king is caught in a fight he can't seem to win. Hanging over this entire mess is the ghost of a decision made years ago, a precedent that has backed the king into a corner. I'm talking, of course, about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. When the Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped back, they reportedly pitched a half-in, half-out model, allowing them to earn their own money while still doing some royal duties. That idea was shot down, hard, by Queen Elizabeth II. The palace's message was unmistakable. You are either all in, or you are all out. There's no middle ground. The decision was meant to protect the crown's integrity and stop the lines between public duty and private profit from blurring. This Sussex precedent now creates a massive headache for Charles. As royal correspondent Rebecca English has argued, a permanent, part-time role for Beatrice and Eugenie is likely out of the question precisely because of the line drawn with Harry and Meghan. If the king created a special hybrid role for his nieces, he'd immediately be hit with a storm of hypocrisy accusations. Why was this denied to his son but granted to his nieces? The media outcry would be deafening, and it would rip open the entire painful saga of the Sussexes' departure all over again. This leaves Charles with very little wiggle room. He can't formally make them part-time working royals without contradicting a major ruling of his mother's reign. So, any role they have must stay informal and unofficial. They can be invited to family events and hold personal patronages, but they can probably never be formally put on the payroll of the firm. The Sussex precedent effectively slammed the door on a creative solution, leaving the princesses in a permanent state of royal limbo. So what do the royal watchers think? The ecosystem of experts and biographers who analyze the palace's every move has been buzzing about this. Their opinions, while often speculative, are what shape the public conversation. Author Andrew Loney, who wrote a biography of the Yorks, has been especially blunt. He suggested that if the sisters were sensible, they would take matters into their own hands and say, "I'm giving up my title and just going to concentrate on my family and my career." But Loney immediately notes the catch. But their career is all based on being a princess. It's a brutal take that perfectly captures their gilded cage. The title gives them status, but it also chains them to an institution that doesn't seem to have a place for them. Other commentators, like Ingrid Seward of Majesty magazine, have floated a similar idea, suggesting that giving up their HRH styles could actually be liberating, freeing them from being tarred with the same brush as their father. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams focuses on the PR risk. He has warned that even putting Beatrice and Eugenie on the balcony for an event like Trooping the Color would be a huge problem. Why? Because, as he puts it, it would bring into focus the fact that Andrew does not appear, and anything to do with him is still too toxic. In his view, their presence only reminds people of their father's absence. These expert opinions all circle back to the same bleak point. There is no easy answer. Every path is loaded with risk. The commentary paints a picture of two women trapped not just by their father's scandal, but by precedent, palace politics, and the cold, hard logic of public relations. So where does that leave everyone? King Charles remains stuck in a game of political and emotional chess he can't win. The final calculation is a brutal one, weighing family loyalty against institutional survival. If he chooses to completely sideline Beatrice and Eugenie, he risks looking cold, heartless, and unfair. He'd be seen as punishing two loyal family members for something they didn't do, reinforcing the image of the monarchy as a rigid, unfeeling machine. It would be a personal tragedy for his nieces and a PR loss for a king who wants to be seen as a compassionate leader. But if he chooses to bring them into the fold in any real way, he risks a huge public backlash. He'd be accused of nepotism, of wrecking his own slimmed-down project, and, worst of all, of not getting just how angry the public still is about Prince Andrew. Any move to elevate the York sisters would be seen as a step toward rehabilitating the York name, a prospect the public, and reportedly his own son and heir, would find totally unacceptable.